made as a polymer. But if we think about, let me do it differently.
There should be a better black marker there, John. If you see another one, it's the brand new one.
All right. So let's say that this polymer is a borax, whatever was in the borax, the chemical formula in the borax, next to a glue, next to a cornstarch, next to a borax, next to a glue, next to a cornstarch, okay? And this is a chain. It goes out and out and out and out. It all sticks together. And when it gets all rolled up, it makes a bouncy ball, okay? So why is making a polymer better than just making, okay, so let me see. A polymer out of 3 subunits, 3 different substances, better than just making a carbon chain, a chain just out of a bunch of carbons. Okay? Or let's say it in a different way, because I was getting a lot of blank looks. Let's change the question. Okay? Let's say I made a chain out of borax. Okay? And is it going to accomplish my goal of making a bouncy ball? No. Why? Let's say we have a chain of borax. Is it going to make a bouncy ball? Why? It doesn't have any other components. Okay. Borax isn't bouncy, right? Okay, the bonds within the borax aren't elastic bonds. They're very rigid, right? It's a powder to solid. Okay. What if I made it completely out of glue? Okay, so, I like lots of discussion, okay, and we're not getting discussion, so I want you to turn to your partners and answer that question, okay? So why wouldn't it work if I just made a big, long glue chain? Why wouldn't my bouncy ball work? Okay, let's come back together. Alright, so who came up with some good ideas of why glue wouldn't work as a bouncy ball? Just a glue ball. Okay, so one, it would dry hard. Okay, and actually even with these bouncy balls it says to keep them in a plastic bag or else it will dry out, using that component of glue drying out. Okay, so why else wouldn't it work? What other ideas do we have? It's too runny. It's not, we said borax was too rigid, right? It's solid, okay? While glue is too runny and not solid enough. Okay? But we see when we combine these things into a polymer, okay, that it almost ends up somewhere in the middle, right? That we have some of the elasticity of glue, okay, it helps it stick together, but we also have the rigid of the borax and the cornstarch. Okay. And so as chemists, let's jump back. Okay, 150 years ago, roughly, okay, there were no man-made polymers. It was only natural occurring polymers. Okay, like cotton, I think, would be an example of polymer. We think of synthetic clothing, right? Like polyester, different things like that. All of those are polymers, okay, that have been synthesized, man-made, to give us what we want. This makes me feel old, but I remember when things, what do you call it? Under Armour, what do you call that stretchy material? Like spandex type stuff got more and more used as everyday clothing, you know, like wearing under your football pads, you know, wearing compression shorts, sliding shorts for baseball, okay, all those things. Okay. And so someone had a problem. They needed material to do A, B, and C. Okay, but they didn't have any material, okay, that was working well to accomplish those things. Okay, so they made their own. Okay, they made their own polymer out of whatever that's made out of. Okay? And now it's able to serve that function. Okay, something very similar is an alloy. Okay? Who knows what an alloy is?
It's like what they make the new Ford F-150s out of, according to every commercial ever.
Okay, so what do they call that? What's the body made out of?
Aluminum alloy.
Aluminum alloy. What's that? It's a metal, okay? Okay, it's not a polymer. It's an alloy. Okay. The big difference between alloys and polymers are alloys are metal and not chains. They're more of a three-dimensional, everything kind of fits in together cube. Okay? So, let's turn to our partners again
Oh my god.
and discuss everything you know about alloys, whether it's the F-150 or whether it's something else, okay? So, just a few seconds. Ready, go.
Think bells.
All right, back together. All right. What did we know about alloys?
They can make metal.
Metals. What else? Different metals put together. Beautiful. Okay? So let's talk about that. We talked about the F-150. It's big news because it's a new body type, right? Aluminum alloy. Okay? Does anybody know what they used before that? Or what most cars and trucks and whatever are made out of?
Aluminum.
Steel, right, Mr. Hayes? Must steel body. Okay, why would they use steel instead of aluminum?
Because aluminum is what they use to make
Steel's stronger. Okay, so why do they want to use an aluminum alloy? What does aluminum have? What trait, what characteristic does it have?
It's lighter.
military.
It's lighter. Okay, so that ties into gas mileage, right? If your car is less weight itself, it can pull more, it can get better gas mileage, whatever it may be. Okay, so we have these two substances. We have iron, which is stronger, and we have aluminum, okay? But we said that the bodies were made out of aluminum alloy. Okay, so is it just aluminum? Okay, what can you think of that's made out of aluminum? Every day you probably see it, at least, okay, soda cans are made of aluminum. Okay, do you want to go down the road and crash into another vehicle with your body made out of soda cans? The body of your car made out of soda cans, let's say that. Probably not, right? Okay, that wouldn't be a fun experience. Okay, so we talked about, what did you say an alloy was? A mixture of metals, right? And so, we didn't want aluminum, we wanted a characteristic, a trait of aluminum that it is light, but we wanted to strengthen it, so we added, let me put that makes it more chemistry correct. Yeah. Okay, so the question was, is the aluminum alloy, is it aluminum based? And the answer to that is yes. Okay, so the main component of the alloy, the main chemical or element is aluminum, but they put other metals in to strengthen that metal. Okay, make it stronger. We talked about steel. Okay, steel is made out of, does anybody know?
metal.
Okay, iron is the main component of steel. Okay. Does anybody know anything about iron? The characteristics of iron itself? It's heavy. Okay. So we brought up the point that iron is strong, but it also has a characteristic that's very bad.
It rusts.
It rusts. Okay. And iron also tends, in the natural environment, to be very brittle. What are we talking about with brittle?
Like
It
peanut.
doesn't bend. It breaks. Okay? And so with iron, if you pull it out from the ground, is very brittle, and breaks very easily. It doesn't bend, it just breaks. Okay? And so they go through the process of this iron and they make an alloy, which we call steel. Okay? And then we take that steel and we make it with other alloys to make the components that we want. Okay? We want it to be strong, so we're going to put steel in it, but we also want it to be lighter, okay, or not rust, so we're going to add another element in to get it what we want. So what? Okay, I always like to ask the question, so what? Okay, when whatever you learn, you should always ask that question. So what? What does this matter? What does this mean to me in my everyday life? Okay? So I want you to turn to your partners again, and we're going to discuss with them why would it be important to understand that I can make a polymer or an alloy to fit the purposes I want. Okay, so turn to them and ready, go.
Because if you eat it, you know, make it
Oh, it's really any.
So that's what Mr. Hayes said about the I didn't understand that.
You did that like the last 3 times.
Alright, let's come back together. Alright, so before we jump into that, I heard something going along over here. We had an aha moment. Okay, would one of you like to share your aha moment, going back to what we just talked about? Okay, Caleb. I saw your aha moment. I saw the light bulb right above your head. Okay, so what aha moment did you have? So you said bells.
Yeah.
Bells, they have rubberized bells,
Okay, so you had talked previously about making bells, and that it needed a certain ratio of elements to give it a good sound, okay, or to get the qualities that you wanted in that bell. Okay, as we talked about the Bronze Age, right, from history, it's when they developed bronze tools or weapons, right? And bronze is a alloy. Okay, so they mixed metals together to make a more effective metal, or elements, I should say, elements together to make a more effective metal, right? Okay, and so in your groups when you're discussing why is it important to understand polymers and alloys, what did you come up with? Okay, let's have a few people share. Alright, this group, somebody from this group, you look like you were really discussing something good. Kaylee, tell me what you're just talking about.
Caleb, you
You
do
have a
it.
really good idea.
Yeah?
Yeah, you really need to say it.
And share it with her and stuff.
Alright, Kaylee, since it was your idea, why don't you share it with us?
I just said if you need to make something to fit your specific purpose.
So it's to fit a specific purpose. Okay, then we can mix things together to create fit that purpose, right? Get into a metal or whatever it may be, or an alloy or polymer. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so let's run with that. Okay, my uncle has a really cool job. He's actually, I think he's a thermonuclear engineer. I think that's the correct title. Okay, and so what that means is he works on satellites and things for the International Space Station. He's worked for NASA. Now he's working for a company that has contracts with NASA to make things for them, and he can calculate the temperature on all the things. Okay, so if it's this type of metal, when this much sunlight's hitting it, is it going to heat up too much? Is it still going to work? Da 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 da. Okay, and so he recently, him and his team recently set a piece of equipment to the International Space Station. And they had recently had a colleague that had died and they wanted to kind of honor him. And so they were putting a metal plaque on this piece of equipment to honor his memory, okay? But they couldn't make this metal plaque out of anything. They had to make it out of a metal